Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to another Lost Ark video. It's Topical Tuesday, where we take a look at the subreddit over the last week and we see what people have been discussing and yapping about. As always, this is kind of just me reading the Reddit and seeing what other people have posted and me kind of reacting / giving my opinion on it. So if that's not content that you like, you deserve to watch something that you will like, so... Anyways, though, for those of you that are sticking around with me, hello, welcome. Hopefully you guys have been doing well. I've been well. I just got out of the shower. I'm ready to record this, and then I'm going to do some mushy game video stuff, but hey, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what people have been yapping about. There are a couple threads that I already opened, specifically this thread and this thread, just because I don't think these will be on the the top posts from the last week, just because they're new and fresh. Let's take a look. As always, we try to pick the non-meme posts, typically, just because meme posts are meme posts. Oh, there's this thread, so this would have been here. And there's also this thread. Okay, cool. Nice. I guess let's open that. That's a fucking clickbaity title. I like that. People... Well, it's not clickbait if it delivers on what it says it's going to do, but you know what I mean. Anyways, the first thread of this week is the uwuowo update. Can now check if you bought hard mode titles. Uwuowo is a website. There's a link to it somewhere in here. Yeah, like this guy's talking about Machu Picchu. It's uwuowo Matthew Mo, and it's basically the log website. You can see a bunch of different shit. It shows you popular characters in the last hour, etc., etc. The biggest thing that they did, though, is if you take a look at the logs tab, this is somebody linking Machu Picchu's logs. You can see they have bus, like, denominations, that's the word I was looking for. So it denotes whether it was a bus or not. And the idea is it will show you if people got bussed as well. So it doesn't show the name of people, and I don't think it should necessarily. Like, the more this website gets updated, the more I'm like, I think either Lost Ark needs to take a stance against this, like hard stance, which I don't think they should do. I'm just saying they need to do one or the other. They need to either take a hard stance against damage meters, external meters, or they just need to incorporate meters into the game and make their own meters in-game. And then the only thing that needs to happen is just a log site similar to this, but only for logs. Like you have WoW logs, you have FF logs, websites like that. Yeah, I don't know. They don't even have to necessarily make their own damage meter. They just need to come out and be like, yeah, you can use meter. It's chill. Instead of whatever we have going on now. But the idea behind this is obviously to see who gets bussed. Is what it is. Bought a pilot, how can you check now? That's for AGS to handle, and they're not gonna handle it, let me tell you. I've seen people on my friends list in Gate 3 this week with gear unequipped. Shameless. You don't even have to check their profile. Ooh, literally detects if it's a bus, just shows on the clear log title. Bow, bow, bow. You can see the names of not opted in players in your own logs, but not other logs. Interesting. People start asking for public logs and lobby name. I'd give 2 weeks until they have to disable it. See, this is kind of what I mean when I say AGS, I think, needs to take a stance either hard for or hard against damage meters. They're not like this gray area that they've sort of been in, where they're like, oh, we'll make it a little bit harder for you to, like, sniff the packets, but we won't actually do anything else until we're forced to. It's just stupid to me. I don't know. It seems like you should either fully endorse it or fully not endorse it. This gray area is not helpful for the community or the game itself and learning how to improve yourself. Using garbage accessories is trolling your team. If you're progging Mordum hard mode, that means you're a 1700 plus character and there's no excuse for running low accessories. You're holding your team back by being a cheapo. Single highline accessory is around 100k. With the amount of gold in the game now, you shouldn't have trash equipped, especially if you're trying to clear on release. Additionally, y'all are accepting some straight up poo-poo supports. because they don't know any better, and neither do party leads. This is an unacceptable level of investment into an endgame character. Stop hyper-focusing on item level and actually inspect things. I mean, I have no stake in the matter. I have no stake in this game. I'll let y'all be the deciders. I do think it's probably worth investing into your character that you plan on playing, but hey, that's neither here nor there. Please gatekeep more trash geared supports on hard content. Thank you very much. We support players would appreciate it. From what I've seen in Party Finder, I can't tell if the character in the picture is a support or DPS. That's crazy. I can't even believe I'm seeing people defend this kind of cheapness on an endgame raid. Screenshot in question doesn't even have more than 10k gold worth of investment. This looks worse than a day one solo self-found PoE character's gear. Our mid rings okay, or better to have high-low. High-low is slightly better. Just don't buy relic accessories. High-low is like 0.2% stronger, so basically the same. I mean, this is also something that people have a really strange sense of, like, math on, where it's, like, marginally worse or marginally better, and then they'll just be like, well, it's way better, so you just do this. I mean, these two people in specific are totally chill, because they're like, it's slightly better. It's 0.2%, so just do whatever. But I know a lot of people would see this and be like, well, high-low is better, and it's better, which means it's better. So you should only buy the better thing. And it's just like, when we're looking at decimal numbers, I think you're slipping a little too far into the sauce, my guy. Crazy how many supports I see at 1700 item level not even have any leap karma. Some barely have any, if any at all, Evo karma. This is when they're probably one of the hardest raids we've ever gotten, asking for 100 mil plus from every DPS, but providing subpar buffing themselves. I mean, so this is like a complete tangent aside, but this is kind of my philosophy and why I ended up not pushing my item level. Because I probably had enough resources to get to 1700. The item level was never the issue, but it was all of the other systems that I just didn't have completed that I think were the issue. And while we might have been able to clear with me, I definitely would not have been doing what I needed to be doing. Accessories aside, my accessories I hadn't changed since they first came out, so they were obviously not great. I just didn't have my karma systems done because I just didn't have the materials, because I was only running one character per week, and I was only doing 2 raids usually per week, Aegir and Brel. Sometimes I didn't even do Aegir. Like, rarely I would do an Echidna here and there, but eh. I just didn't have enough stones to finish the karma. And, I mean, it doesn't feel good to know you're, like, not doing what you should be doing. And it's like, player ability can only make up for so much of it. And it's like, I'm definitely above average. I'm not going to say that I'm not. I think my strongest suit in this game is progression. I typically pick things up very quickly, and I'm usually being the keyword, usually pretty good about figuring things out quickly. So prog is generally okay for me, and I definitely think it is one of my strong suits. Re-clears, I just kind of get bored, and I just stop caring. If you're not parsing, it's just boring. And as somebody without top-of-the-line like equipment, gear, stuff like that, I can't parse anyways. So re-clears were just kind of snooze fest for me mostly. But prog is what I really enjoyed and really enjoy. But even then, it's just there's only so far a player's ability can take you. When it's like, systems just aren't finished, and these systems give you a good amount of damage, and everything is like multiplicative, so it adds up very quickly. But yeah, I definitely understand this, and it is a complete tangent aside. This is like the main reason why I stepped away rather than trying to push and inserting myself where I did not belong. Could care less about how geared people are in comparison to their actual performance in raid. The DPS check is not that bad. It's more of a hands issue. I mean, this is also something that I think is a good philosophy in that you should have a minimum gear requirement that you look for, but there is a large... I like how I just said there's only so far like a player's ability can take you, but there is a large difference between a good player and a mediocre player with the same like equipped character. Lost Ark is just... It is a game with a lot of systems. And, it's hard, man. Most pugs I saw failed because people died, not because of damage. Item level makes you tankier, accessories don't. Well, like I said, I have no stake in it. I have no bacon in this pig. It is what it is. Let me know what you guys think. We'll speed through the rest of these, or at least try to, because I know I've been yapping for a little bit. My face when the director proudly announces the winner low on Mordum is of appropriate difficulty. This is just a fucking... this is actually a pretty funny meme. I read this as funny. You just run around in a circle, man. My face when they start to explain the Theomine Gate 4 domain expansion mech and say, before that we did to talk about parallel universes. It's funny. Just hope they don't introduce mechanics that can't be figured out how to properly do without time stop, like domain expansion. Facts. You don't need time stop mechanic is to have support. This is not true, right? From what I understand, they've directly said there's a specific thing you need to do to counter the mechanic, right? DRing through it is not a specific thing to counter the mechanic. Like, in a vacuum it is, but I don't think that's what they meant. I think there is, like, a solution to the mechanic that isn't just DR or time stop. But the fact of the matter is people don't know what that is still today. That is a problem. Like, a massive problem. That's like a design fail. Like, a massive design fail. Like, humongous design fail. I'm just gonna bend over, take the sword up my butt, and hope the support DRs me right after Hyper Awakening and hope for the best. Or just take a bus, I don't know. Something can be insanely hard without being complicated. Think of the arcade games with the Vigilant projectiles that one-shot your ship. I'm willing to bet there's gonna be an insane amount of crap to dodge with fast reaction times, and failing is a one-shot. This is true. Things can be difficult without being complicated. I think people definitely conflate the two too often. I've found this is straight fire. The appropriate difficulty means you can't outgear the raid to an extent that you can ignore every pattern, which unfortunately translate that on item level average gear for the point you can't meet the DPS requirement. I mean, this is how every Lost Ark raid has always been, though. It's incredibly difficult the closer you are to on-spec, but the idea is they want it to be hard on-spec, so you overgear it. That's just how it's always been. Some of the raids are much worse at this than others, but yeah. I don't know. It's just the cycle of Lost Ark. I don't expect anything to change, truthfully. Please, AGS, can we get KR balance patches more frequently? Juicy Breaker and Slayer changes, zero info, and when we actually get them makes me feel sad. Biggest problem with those balance patches is that they may come 2 weeks after Korea or 6 months later, and we never know when it will drop. I mean, yeah, I do think more communication on when things will happen, because it does seem random. Sometimes you get a balance patch in a month, sometimes you get it in 6 months. I don't know. I don't think anybody would hate that. Ooh, little chat GPT. Things I learned thus far. I'm not gonna read all this because this shit's just chat GPT. What do we got? So what have I learned, assuming you're here? If you're a slow learner, quit. If you're honest about struggling, quit. If you're awkward socially, quit. If you lie to fit in, also quit. But I'm not quitting. Call me crazy, but the chat GPT stuff is just, I don't know. Some of it, and I mean very lightly, some of it is funny, but most of it is just like, why am I reading this? I'm sorry I made you guys read this too. ChatGPT is good, but the way that people use it sometimes not so good, and that was a not so good usage of it. IMO. At least the game gets better over time. For the last post. Recently I saw a post on TL subreddit, Throne and Liberty, I'm assuming, how people are leaving the game and how much it better was in T1. Kind of the same thing happened with WoW Classic. Big portion of the player base wanted to play an older version of the game, same with old cool RuneScape, MapleStory, Aeon, etc. Y'all remember how you had to put tripods in your gear if you swapped a skill it was GG, or how there was no presets, you had to manually swap everything for Chaos and Braid, or the good old 2x Chaos and Guardian, where the class you weren't playing wasn't in the game yet, a bunch of other changes we never got to experience before West launched. Besides doing the story and first time and one-time islands of it, most people prefer the current state of the game over what we had years ago. I would say the biggest issue right now is the new player experience, but hopefully with more solo modes, new Paradise content, and hopefully the Express doesn't start in T3 will help. I do want to make a mention here. There's always going to be a portion of a player base that likes an older version of a game more, but I think it's more blinded by nostalgia than anything. Specifically with, like, WoW. And I also think MapleStory will fall in this same thing. Old school RuneScape is kind of just its own game, so I don't think it counts. That's my opinion. Old school RuneScape and RuneScape 3 can coexist because they are completely different games, especially at this point. They're two completely different games. But nostalgia wears off, man. And typically games evolve in ways that allow them to keep living and keep appealing and keeping up with the new modern standards of video games. So yeah, it's good that the game has evolved over time and gotten better. I would say the same thing for MapleStory. I would say the same thing for WoW. There's certain things that people might miss from these older versions of the game, but these older versions of the game are old for a reason. And they're outdated, and they don't exist anymore in the way that they once did, because they needed to change. Times change, man. Thing is, the problems that get fixed / improved were ones created intentionally by some developers. Remember how much pushback Loa gave about 2x Guardian Raid and catastrophic effects it was strongly suggested to have? Sure, other systems were genuinely improved, but even these seemingly small changes would have stagnated player base decline by a noticeable amount. 100,000,000% agree. 100,000%, million, bazillion% agree. I've always said it, and I will continue saying it until the day that I die. I think the biggest problem with Lost Ark since its inception has just been how tedious and how much daily content you have to do. And I'm somebody who did 2 Guardians, 2 Chaos Dungeons on like 18 characters for like the first year of the game. I'm somebody who loves monotonous grind, but it is just too much. Not only do they intentionally create problems, but they also never fix them in time. Ever since release, Smilegate has made it obvious the only time they'll fix or improve anything is once the whole player base is outraged and they see actual decrease in the player base, a never-ending loop. Yeah. I mean, all MMOs do this to some degree. Korean MMOs typically are the worst about it, though, because of just how they're monetized and structured. But even games like WoW do this to a smaller degree. Or have done it, I should say. I don't know how WoW is currently, since I haven't played it in a little bit, but that's neither here nor there. I think I'll stop yapping. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today, and as always, like the video if you like it, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you to my YouTube members, Remix My Life, I'm Nufu, It's Biscuits, Inder, and Diz. I'll see you guys all later. Bye!